Good Sky Sexy Wookiees, and welcome to another episode of Sexy Wookiee Squadcast. We're continuing reading Star Wars Heir to the Empire by Timothy Zahn. This week's chapters are 16 to 20. For a Jedi, there's no emotion, there's only peace. Leia, hear me, answer me. It's your boy, Sexy Leader.
Hey, it's your girl, Sexy One.
Hey, what's up? It's your simp, Sexy Two. Right,
I was gonna find a thing that goes Jasmine's notes.
Oh yeah, totally. Let's start with the little inside
We're gonna
info.
find these these
Jasmine's
80s jingles.
I'd cry. That would be hilarious.
The little more you know star.
Imagination.
No, we got some really cool stuff this week. Our first look at Kashyyyk and Han and Lando palling around and making friends, and then Luke doing his thing, and then
Luke's on an adventure. These
Yeah.
chapters.
finally meets Mara Jade,
That's
girling,
exciting.
and then thinking, I cannot wait to hear about this Thrawn situation, because Jasmine thinks that Thrawn is a little cuddly, fair.
I know
Nice.
he's ruthless and cutthroat, but I know at some point with the right person, he would be a big cuddly teddy bear.
Mm.
I volunteer. But anyway, ready for some fun facts?
Yes.
Okay, so in our little chat, Megan, you brought up R.A.P. Peterson. So there's a fun fact about that.
Ooh, there
So
it is.
in the notes, Timothy Zahn had said that there was a charity auction, right? And a fan named with the last name Peterson got a chance to win. He won the chance to have his name in Timothy Zahn's next book. No one knew it would be Star Wars. Happened to be Star Wars. And then another guy also won, Cole Clisher.
Yeah,
I don't know how to
Clisher.
pronounce it, the last name,
Yeah.
but he also won to be in the book, but he also won if he got to decide Peterson lived or died the character. So Timothy Zahn said, you know what, since it's his fault that Peterson died, since he chose that it would be Peterson to die, I'm going to make it his fault that he died. And I was like,
So he
God,
didn't get
damn.
off scot-free.
No, he didn't. So it's his fault.
Oh my gosh, Timothy, please do another contest so that I can win having my name in your book.
Same.
Please.
Oh gosh. And then Timothy Zahn was apparently told that for Kashyyyk, it was cities and trees. That's what he was told. So when he heard Kashyyyk was going to be in episode 3, he got all excited until he saw it. And he was like, what the heck happened? Is this just a different part of the planet? Or was that like
Well, the
2
Love
years
and
ago?
Beaches. And he's writing like how they've probably never been to the surface, and it's all way up, and it just gets worse the further down you go in levels, very Coruscant-y.
Because that's what he was told it was
Exactly.
like. I was like,
And it
oh,
matches
someone
with
help him.
the holiday special that came out,
Yeah.
before that too. So it worked. But then we get episode 3.
Maybe
I don't know
some
what happened.
parts of Kashyyyk you can go down into, but for the most part, it's just kind of like a no-no thing.
I guess so.
Maybe.
So yeah, we got the 2 different representations here.
Yeah, apparently he keeps getting told different things, and he keeps putting that in the margin to be like, I was told this, but then it turns out it was that.
He's like, don't blame me, please.
I mean, it's not his fault if he is told one thing. But he did mention how he did actually make an error in the book. So when he talked about the Wookiees having claws, he made an error about that because he's like, wait a second, all the times that Chewie could have used his claws in a battle. So West End Games actually saved his butt. So in a source book, it explained the Wookiees never use their claws in battle because it's a matter of honor to only use the claws for climbing trees. So they came and they kind of saved him for that one.
There we go.
I was like, all right,
Matter
all
of
right.
honor.
And
Yeah, I
then-
did think about that. I was like, I wonder if they declawed some of them, if that's why Chewie didn't use it. But okay, that makes sense.
Maybe. I mean, yeah, I could see that, but it also makes sense about the honor thing.
Yeah.
But good on them for helping him.
Aw.
And then
They should have like put what's it called? Like actual dogs.
Mhm.
Some dogs' claws are really you feel it, and some you just don't.
Yeah.
And then some get the real like expensive grooming, and I think that's what they should have done with it. Because like
But like they
as
groom
we
the claws.
know, it's swinging from tree to tree in this planet. So,
Mhm.
but yeah, no, that'd be a useful feature. But hey, dogs can't climb trees, right?
That's
Just
true.
slots.
This
That's
next
what I
one
picture.
kind of made me laugh. So in chapter 19, when he describes a guy with the Frofle style haircut, in
Uh-huh.
the note it said, "What is a Frofle style haircut?" The answer, I don't know. The idea was to sprinkle these alien non-Earth references throughout the books.
I love it.
Being to add a little more Star Wars feeling. So the editors, fans, everyone kept asking him, like, what is this? He's like, I don't know. I just made it up.
That's
Mm,
brilliant. It really
smart.
does world builds
Yeah.
when they reference other things that would be in the world that you really don't know, but to them it's so natural.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Love
I
it.
thought that was funny. He said, but apparently in the comics, they depict it as being spiky. So I was like, okay, maybe it's a certain type of spiky.
Sure, why not?
I still like that. He's like, I don't know. I just made it
I
up.
don't know. And I'm going with wine today in
Oh.
honor of
Oh.
classy Lando, because that's my guy.
So I have
Lando with the wine.
so I have a fun fact, and then the last fun fact will be about that area that they were in.
Mm.
So the next one was that Timothy Zahn apparently hates that the currency is called credits. He hates it. So that's why he tries not to use the word as much as he can. He's like, I don't like blasters either as much, but that one doesn't rub me the wrong way as much as credits does.
How funny.
So that's why when they were saying 30,000, they didn't say credits, because apparently he doesn't like using the word credits.
They could have said
Interesting.
30,000 Dictarians if they didn't want it. Or if that's even how you pronounce it.
I don't know.
However, Qui-Gon said it on Tatooine.
It's 30,000.
I just thought it
Cool.
was funny. I'm like, okay, you let
That's
hate
funny.
it.
Now I'm gonna notice that.
And then the last one that made me kind of laugh was so the LeBeau, that's another what he called Tuckerism. So that was named after like one of his friends.
Ah,
And then when it said the latter deserted, but with some annoying variety of taped music playing in the background.
uh-huh.
This dude's note said, Mike LeBeau plays bagpipes and plays them very well. So I'm sure this annoying music wasn't bagpipes, certainly not his.
Uh-huh. Space bagpipes. Oh my gosh, I love it.
Oh, what
I
that
was
sound
like,
like?
he's ripping on his
loud.
friend, but it's so funny.
That's great.
Make a bunch of footnotes. I don't always mention them, but he'll be like, yeah, this is named after a friend or a family member or
Mhm.
a place that I really like. And I'm like, oh, that's so cool. But the fact that he's like, yeah, my friend's annoying bagpipe. So,
Random.
Rude.
oh, that's funny. That's funny. You know what? I'm gonna make that a question actually. So if we had to write each other, or if we got the chance to write, like just mention something with each other, what would you guys put for each other?
Ooh, should have left that at the end. Oh no.
Well, that's easy for me because I've done it.
True.
So for Ronald, what I worked a way to get his dog's name as his little companion into the story. So that was a thing. Let's see, Jasmine, what did I do for you that was very you?
I don't remember. It's been a minute since I read the stories.
Yeah. I think just your attitude, but that's not like an inside joke. Or maybe there was a phrase, or you were being rude to somebody about something that we make fun of in real life.
I don't. So for those watching, I always joke that like I'll throw hands, I'll throw down, like sometimes I don't even need a reason. I'll just go for it if you tell me to. So I think you made a joke about that I was gonna like try to fight someone.
Yeah, or there was a phrase that you said that's very used. I can't remember what it
We gotta reread.
like
See what it
it's
is.
something about being a simp or thirsty. Oh, that's what it was. Thirsty.
That's right. That's right.
That's right.
Oh yeah, you made a joke about Mina being thirsty.
That's right.
Oh god.
Something like there was some slang that you used that I worked in there.
That's right. Oh dear gosh. If I were able to do little nods to you guys, I would have whatever characters I'm writing at like some kind of bar or somewhere with alcohol, and I would name like the fancy bottle, be like, oh, I'd probably name it like some random year with like either May or gone, and then or probably like mash up your first and last name, and then like the first half of the mashup will be the name of the alcohol, and then the name of the person who made it would be like the second parts of the mashup. So I'd do something like that.
I see. That's clever. Okay, so you're like, if we were writing a real Star Wars novel, how would we work in
Yeah, like
nod?
little nods.
Oh,
yeah.
for sure. It would probably be like a ship name or a droid's name where the letters spell out to like the letters and the numbers would spell out to something that's reminiscent of your initials, or somebody would mention like an ex-girlfriend or boyfriend and it would be something close to the name. But
so for Ronald's little nod, because I will never forget Star Wars Night where he's just dancing everywhere, I would have a background character that's like super groove into the music, whether they were dancing alone or not. Someone's like, who's that? They're like, oh, that's the local. And like, I'll do some, like, I'll probably put Relics. I'll be like, oh, that's the local Relics. He really jams out after work.
Yeah, so like the Cantina band.
So I would do a nod like that. So I would name like a really good bottle of alcohol after you, and then I have the little dancing local in the back.
Yes, it could all be in the bar scene.
Oh yeah, so totally I would do a nod like that. I'd be like, okay, something like that.
I like it. Timothy's on take notes. You're welcome to incorporate these into the next novel.
Yep.
Call me. All right, what's the real question?
All right, so we always hear that for the Jedi, there is no emotion, there is peace. But what are your thoughts on that saying? Because for me, I'm like, wait, peace is still an emotion, is it not? So that's why I'm curious. Like, what do you guys think about that saying every time you hear it? There is no emotion, there is peace.
It's honestly like a credo that I've held on to since for years. Like, as somebody who can really swing emotional highs and lows, I've always felt that the best stability is to just not let emotion take over. And that the non-attachment principle is so good. It does keep you from getting emotionally attached to things, which, you know, could cause a lot of pain or stress or poor decisions. So I think peace being the absence of emotion, whether good or bad, makes a lot of sense to me. That like, if you just approach something without any emotional attachment to it or reaction to it, it's just, you know, the complete state of peace and balance. That I was like, this makes so much sense. I love this. This is like definitely like Jedi code for me is number one.
When I first heard this, I can't remember which video game I played, like years ago. It was still back in, it was either Jedi Knight or Knights of the Republic, but I think it had to be Jedi Knight. I'd have to replay it to actually see it. But that's actually where I saw the quote or the creed first for me. So the premise of the game is that when you get to this point where you're fighting an apprentice that turned Sith, then what happens is you have to use the creed to kind of turn them back, and you can actually turn you can turn them back from the dark side back to the light using the creed.
So you have to complete tasks based on the
so like basically you have to choose it. Like it'll give you choices like, oh, which one do you want to choose? And depending on what you choose, that part of the game will be it turns back to Sith or whatever. And so when I first heard it, I was just like, it made me more excited about Jedi a little bit more. No emotion and peace. Emotion is just energy and motion. Let's go back to last year.
All right.
There you go.
Motivational speaker Ronald. Here we go.
Emotion is just energy and motion, and basically peace. I mean, when you're at peace, yes, there is emotions, and it's emotions of happiness. I get you why there's that difference in it. But I think it's like when they say emotion, it's how you act on your emotions. And then peace is just it's more of a like joyous, I would say, or not joyous. That's too way out there, but it's more calm. Your peace, you're more calm, and you're not really acting on anything because you're calm, I guess. I'll leave it at that. Jedi, you tell me.
Yeah, that's fair. I don't know why I have such a different view on it.
Really?
Yeah, let's hear.
So for me, peace has always been a type of emotion. That's why they're like, oh, no emotion, just peace. And I'm like, you liars. It's still an emotion. It's a good emotion. And it's out of all the emotions, positive and negative, it is the most calm one. And it makes sense to be like, oh, well, you just got to be calm all the time. So I feel like peace is a good word for that. But I feel like to pick a word that doesn't resemble some type of emotion, I feel like can be a little dangerous, even to the Jedi, that they're like, okay, well, we can't be emotionless droids, but we can't let emotion overtake us. So that's why for me, whenever they're like, no emotion, just peace, I'm like, I think you mean calm emotion, but don't let it overwhelm you, because it's not like you could like overdose on the calm feeling or anything. It's just a relaxed state usually. So that's why I'm always like, it's still an emotion. That's why it always like struck me as odd when they set that up, but I was like, I guess they have to be more subtle about it. So I like it, but I feel like for me, it just kind of hits different.
Because you consider peace an emotion.
Yeah.
That void would be more accurate.
Yeah. I'm like, okay, I think they mean calm without actually saying calm.
Yeah. Well, calm and rational and.
Yeah. Because I know for myself, when someone's like, oh, you should calm down. And I'm like, do not tell me what to do. But if someone was like, oh, think of peace, I'd be like, okay, that's more doable, but don't tell me to calm down, because it's just gonna like do the opposite. So I feel like it's kind of like that, where they can't just be like, calm down. They're like, okay, well, think of this instead.
Yeah, no, I think it's a really good motto. And like when I have really bad anxiety, it is helpful to be like, there's no emotion, there's only peace. There's no emotion, there's only peace. Like for a while, I wanted to get like a Jedi tattoo, just because I so strongly believe in the old Jedi code and the like non-attachment and the don't let your emotions rule your decision making and balance and all this kind of stuff. It very strongly informs my worldview.
You should get a back tattoo of the whole thing, not just that one line.
Not just
the whole
there's
Jedi
no emotion.
code.
Yeah, the whole code. The whole code. Just cover
find.
your back.
Oh my gosh.
Big chunky letters.
Yeah, it was funny because I was really close to doing it, and then this was before the sequels came out, and I thought to myself, well, what if I get a stinking tattoo and then they ruin the Jedi? And then sure enough, they did. So
just pretend the sequels don't exist.
I do. Right.
Yeah, so just get that. Get the whole creed on your back, and then right here, just put no regrets.
No regrets.
That's your credo.
Only God can judge me with judge spelled wrong. Yeah.
No emotion and spell emotion wrong.
No emote.
No, spell peace wrong.
Oh God, can you imagine?
Great.
Oh, we do need a party at Upper Mascanada.
I'm gonna come out of there with the tattoo and all
Oh
kinds of stuff.
wow!
Like
Sexy Wookiee
She's
hangover.
gonna have tattooed it
Yeah.
on you.
Hangover edition.
it's gonna be like The Hangover, but with like Maz and the sexy Wookiees.
Damn.
That'd
They
be awesome.
wake up with, I don't know.
I want to know what trouble. We got to talk about that offline.
The baby Yoda and some kind of wild animal.
Maz being like, "But did you die?"
Yes.
You know she would.
Exactly.
And it's all about trying to get baby Yoda back to wherever
Back
he
to
came from.
Lando.
I need to write this. Oh gosh.
Oh,
Wow.
Okay.
and then for Mando, instead of "Dude, where's my car?" "Dude, where's my kid?"
What happens in
Oh.
Canto Bite stays in Canto. My gosh.
Oh, that's
Oh,
a good
no.
one.
All right, what's the question?
All right, so what do you think is more fitting for Wookiees? Timothy Zahn's description of Kashyyyk or what we saw in the movie?
I think both can work. I think that primarily I love the idea of these gigantic, unbelievably huge trees, and that the species just built cities in the branches. Like, it's so unique and just, you know, amazing to read the description of. I love that. But to think that nowhere on the planet is there an ocean with a beach or a surface level mountains or anything where they hit the surface, like that, you know, it's a big planet. There's probably some places like you see in the movie where they could go have a ground battle. But I wouldn't have complained if they kept it just in the trees, and that in the movie the battles that took place on Kashyyyk were like in the air with all kinds of like different technology that would have to compensate for tree branches and vines and stuff like that. That would have been interesting. But instead it was like a regular like beach assault kind of thing, which is fine. I'm sure somewhere on the planet there's a place where they do that, but I prefer Timothy Zahn's version. This
Okay.
one.
I will not take too long with this answer, and hopefully I'm short on what I say. There's 3 different versions that I know. There's the movie version or anything on screen. I mean, animated or live version, and then 2. I know a lot of the this planet is on a lot of the video games.
Battlefield,
And,
right?
There's Battlefield, Battlefront.
Star
Battlefront.
Killer, right?
Battlefront.
Oh, yeah, Star
Battlefront.
Killer
There's
also.
Right,
Jedi Fallen Order, and then those are my favorites. It's Battlefront, Fallen Order, and Force Unleashed, the first one. Okay, so
That's right. That's right.
if you've played those games or if you've seen us play those games, man, it changes your perspective. Now,
Kashyyyk.
the third version is the book, right? And I'm still trying to cope with as I read things, I try to picture things now. But it's still a little difficult to do that, because I'm like, you know, my mind goes so many places when I'm reading these things. Like just how you were talking about, like, you know, the mosquito looking thing that they fly on that that has all the tech on it. I was like, when they came back to this planet, how did they, you know, did they have to rebuild like technology like that got destroyed? I don't know. Who knows? But yeah, that's the thing I'm trying to cope with. And as I listen to the past episodes, like when you guys talk about certain things, and I'm like, oh man, like I read that, but then now they put it into picture for me, and you know, that's just a new version that I don't know. Maybe it's, you know, that I can picture something in my head, but it's still gonna be the right now the video
Yeah,
game
it's tough
versions
if you've
are
already got a
better.
picture in your head, though.
Yeah, that's the
Like,
thing. They did so well with
Yeah.
the video games that I'm just like, I was blown away. Fallen Order, especially, like when you go through that level, like damn, you're like,
yeah,
I
you're
don't
in
know
it.
what can top that.
Fair enough.
Okay. That's fair. I don't get me wrong, the beach is cool, but I also like the idea of that they don't go to the surface. They haven't been in how many years? Because that does sound Star Warsy. There's thousands and thousands and thousands of planets. Like there's bound to be some planet like that. And I like the idea of it being Kashyyyk. That, you know, a lot of people are like, oh, Wookiees are total savages and everything. But the fact that they're so advanced that they're like, yeah, we don't even need to go down there anymore. We're just up here. I really like that. I mean, yeah, I like the beach, you know, it's cool, but imagine just having to do everything up in the trees, including a war up in the trees. Like, damn.
Yeah. Like the you could play with that vertigo almost. And what's interesting is the contrast, because we end up getting something like that. And I wonder if it was influenced by this earlier description of Kashyyyk when we finally get to Coruscant. And you've got, all the, you know, civilized people live on a certain level. And then the further down you go, the less safe it is and the creepier and more dangerous. And like, it just, until it's like these less evolved beings that live in complete darkness. But that's a modern industrial urban planet. But then to have the same thing mirrored in a forest planet would be very interesting, I think. And you do get that sense of looking over the edge and just being like, wow, I'm up so high, like,
yeah,
adding that sense of danger. This is cool.
I like how he wrote in the book that he was comparing how like Leia was looking at it and how she compared it to Endor. Like that's where I was like, yes, I knew it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Really big trees.
Ready for the next one?
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Do you think it is better to be on the good side of the remnants of the Empire or on the good side of the New Republic?
You mean from like a smuggler's perspective?
Yeah, from a smuggler, or just like any like non-military perspective, like because you know how they're trying to recruit smugglers to work for them, and then after that, like they're probably going to recruit other people that are usually like neutral. So if you were a smuggler, a pirate, or in some type of profession that's more neutral, do you think it's better to, whose side do you think it's better to be on if you had to finally choose a side? Because it sounds like that's what it's coming to for the smugglers.
Oof. I think this represents it very well in that they've tried to play both sides for as long as they can get away with it, tried to like play it safe and like not piss off anybody depending on what territory they're in. But I think at this point they got to be realizing that the pendulum is swinging towards the New Republic, that they're gaining more ground. They've got, at this point now, they've got Coruscant, so they've got your capital planet, and they're really getting set up and they're starting to do outreach and everything. So it's like, okay, things are really starting to go this direction. And the only thing that's making them hesitate is like there's this one Grand Admiral that really seems to keep winning. Maybe he's gonna turn things around and we don't want to have already picked a side by then. But I think if it weren't for Thrawn and the Chimera and everything that he's organizing, everyone would have been like, oh, okay, Empire's days are numbered. Like we're going New Republic.
I can't. I'm back on here this week.
You, of course.
So, yeah, last week I probably would have answered a little differently, but as a smuggler from Corellian relics is definitely joining the New Republic. Definitely, what more chance do you get to govern the skies? As I always say, good skies at the beginning of every episode now. Yeah, so I want to be a patrol X-Wing pilot that just like who gets to do missions and stuff like that.
Yeah, so. Join Rogue Squadron.
Oh man.
Or Sexy Wookiee Squadron.
Or Sexy Wookiee Squadron.
Yeah, make it happen, Captain. But yeah, definitely. I think it's like you said, it's the momentum is with the rebellion right now. And when you have control of that Coruscant, like, well, you have control. But then again, there's people like the third party that we talk about is very I don't know, because it's like they're still scared of the Empire,
Right.
but in the rebellion you can't trust them fully. So it's like,
Mhm.
they're split. I would say like those clans, all those pirates and everybody's split right now.
Mhm.
And then that just what makes it a Star Wars world, because if you don't have anybody to either come join us, or you're gonna be you follow the galaxies however you follow the galaxy.
Okay, that's fair. I think I would have to go with the New Republic, because even though I would be terrified of Thrawn, at the same time, if they only have one person that's that capable, confident, cunning, and they just can handle it, that's one person versus multiple people that are good on the New Republic. So I feel like if I had to start picking sides, I'd go with the New Republic.
Oh yeah,
Safe bet.
I think
that's
so.
3 votes for Leia to be
Yeah.
queen.
It depends. Is it Han and Wedge that are out here doing the recruiting? Because then I'm all in. Yeah, I'm on your guys'.
I'm gonna be Wedge's personal assistant. I don't care.
I don't
I'll
even
do
care.
it.
But if it's Phalia out here being like, yeah, you gotta be loyal to us. Be like, these Bothans though.
Damn Bothans.
I love the part with like Winter and Han trying to do their secret code.
I could just
Daggum
picture
Phalia
perfectly.
again.
I could picture perfectly in my head. Winter is like being all casual, and I could just see like Han's expressions in my head. He didn't even have to describe them, and I could see them in my head.
It was so on point, like in character. It was perfect.
You can
Someone
totally
help
read
this
it.
guy.
Again, good language. Timothy's on.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Good language.
He's very good. He's very good. But yeah. All right. So I think those are the questions for this week, unless you guys have any.
Very cool. Okay, wait, let me think back everything that we saw and did.
Oh, I do have a question, but it's like, I don't know if it's going to be a spoiler question. So,
like our predictions for something?
well, no, you guys always say it's 30 years, or it's been a couple of years
Yeah.
since these books have come out, and
Yeah.
nothing's really a spoiler. So I want to know, is this the first time Luke meets Mara, or is it, we have read her, I believe, in that one Death Star book, right?
No, she wasn't
No.
in Death Star.
So
This is the first time we've read her.
So this is the first time we're actually
'cause
reading her
this is
too.
this is the first Star Wars book, right?
Yeah.
That she's in.
No, the first actual Star Wars book in Legends. Well,
Splinter of the
right?
Mind's Eye was the first novel, but then it immediately, like, because that came out between the first 2 movies, I think. And so immediately Empire Strikes Back, like, was like completely off the rails. So that one got decanonized before anything else. So yeah, this was kind of the first in like, we're making an EU of Star Wars.
So this is the first EU book then.
Exactly. The rest were the novelizations for the movies, and then Splinter of the Mind's Eye.
Okay.
So it's the first time we see her?
This is the first novel she ever appears in, and it's the first one that we've read her in too, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's the first, not the first time we read Thrawn, but the first time Thrawn pops up. This is like the first for a lot of things.
It is.
Let me just say, reading her, she's very badass right now.
I know, she's kind of scary.
I love her. I want to
get-
dress as her. I'm like, that
Should.
attitude matches me, and I really like that.
Yeah.
She's fun. She's fun.
The moment she was like, that's right. Like when Luke was like checking her out, and he was checking her out. He wasn't like trying to recon on like the things that she had like on her. But when he saw the blaster and she goes, that's right.
That's right.
I didn't know how to like, I don't know how she talks, so, but just those 2 words really got to me, and I was like, man, she's badass. And
yeah,
Luke,
watch out for this.
I was like, Luke, I don't know if you can handle this.
She's amazing. I love her. I want to dress as her. I want to see if I could convince my guy to dress as Luke just for this.
Yeah.
I love Mara Jade so much.
I think we're getting some really great pairings in this. First, we got everybody together. We got the big 3, and then Lando too. And so we got our group adventures. They've done a few things where it was them on a mission. Then they split up, but now we're seeing like the dynamic with Han and Lando off doing their thing, and just the way they play off of each other and like who's better at what things. Like this is the version of Lando that I loved. Like he was so suave and charismatic and classy, and he was this entrepreneur businessman that like enjoyed the finer things, and he really was smart. He just happened to get in over his head a lot. Until we got the Disney version where he's like actually
at
everything.
I was kind of thinking about the Solo version, because think about it, that's like baby Lando, baby Han Solo. So I like seeing Donald Glover as Lando, because you could see like he's working his way to be confident. He's trying to figure things out. So by the time we do see him in Empire Strikes Back, you could tell like he's learned. It's a jump, and I like it, because I think if in Solo Lando would have been immediately like all the things we saw in Empire Strikes Back, I'm like, he's too young for this. Like he needs to build up that experience to what we see in Empire Strikes Back. So I like seeing that contrast.
If that's the case, but the events that took place in Solo, which is Han winning the Falcon and the Kessel Run and all this stuff, were supposed to take place when Lando was a lot more like the Lando we know, and that's why Han drove him crazy, was because Han's like this ruffian scoundrel, and Lando is this very like professional, refined person. And so to have him be also kind of a scoundrel at the time, I was like, this, I don't like it. Like he's supposed to be the anti-Han. Like that's why they were supposed to be not getting along so well.
Well, are you talking about from Solo?
From Solo.
From Solo. Okay.
Yeah. And so this is back to like the version that I like, or he's like, yeah, I'm gonna order wine and sit here and look cool, and what I think they had here was the looks, right? After they say something, or like I think it was eyebrow raise, right? So I mean, you've seen that in the movie. He nails their interactions,
and I'm just like, dude, he wrote this in a book, and the movies had to have read this book to, or also watch the films. You had to watch the old films to understand it too as well. And that's where I was like, oh, I like this buddy of them in this chapter, but I also like that they are the odd couple of like of like they're the opposites of each other, and I like that.
When it gets down to it, they're playing the same game. Like they're both noticing the same things that are a little bit off about the surroundings. And okay, are we gonna, it's like Thor and Loki. Should we get help? No, I don't want to get help. Like it's like they've got some kind of system that the two of them know.
Oh man,
where Han is always like I'll go get arrested, I guess. While you make a distraction and get us out of here. Like it's like they've done this before, and I love that sense of the history and the chemistry between them. Loved it. And then another scene that I really love that I'd like to get you guys' reactions to is like the feeling, like the anxiety and tenseness of when Luke hyperdrive breaks and he ends up in the middle of nowhere and is like, I'm gonna die here. Like there's nobody, I can't even call for help. Leia can't hear me. Like terrifying. Like if you ever see that famous picture of the untethered spacewalk, that one astronaut who's like just floating in the void with the earth like below him, and then just like nothing above, and just like that sense of falling, that vertigo that you get. And then I don't know, the way he described it from Luke's point of view was just, I was like, this has got to be the scariest thing in Star Wars, and so nobody ever explores it.
I like this because a lot of it when I was reading it. So let's go first to let's go back to last week. Last week you were saying the language, this guy, he has physics under his belt. Yeah. Like Timothy Zahn, I don't know, but it's so genius how you got me to picture in my head all of chapter 16, 17-ish happening with all of this. And I was like, man, it's brilliant. Language on point, 10 out of 10. And I know this is a serious moment a little bit. We'll get a little serious, but I need to make one joke. Hey, if you want to get out, you might spacewalk yourself out.
Can't handle the anti-grav, get out of space.
I was like, it's possible. Jedis can do it. Okay, so moving forward, with just happening, and I want to go back to just us talking 2 years ago. And I don't know what I was feeling, but I felt like really emotional. And I said, what if somebody were to ever get stuck in space that you had no contact, no like you had fuel was just down to down to the bolt. I felt that here. And I felt that like even the most powerful Jedi, the most powerful Last Jedi, is in trouble. And what happens when you don't have R2? Because right now, even though he has a plan, he's very reliant on R2, but R2 can shut off just as much as, I mean, R2 doesn't have a backup battery, but I don't know what kind of battery, if it's, I was going to say a brand and I didn't want to do brands. But yeah, man, it's like that played in my mind where I was like, you're stuck. What do you do in space?
And you can tell he's on the verge of panicking.
Yes,
and has to
exactly.
keep reminding himself there's no emotion.
And the anxiety that you talk about is like, to me, being stuck in space in an X-Wing is like drowning in water. And I those are my two fears. And it's just like the opposite of each other's. Man, I was reading that. And also another side note is the how Thrawn, so it's a Thrawn book, come on, we have to talk about Thrawn.
Got it.
Thrawn really was like, he called it. He said, he's gonna use that maneuver, we got him. And I was like, man. And then the whole plan, it was the first time I rooted for the Empire, like reading it, and I was just like, man, they do got him. Like and then they're gonna tell all the little clans out there, or those little pirates, and then what's the word?
Smugglers?
The smugglers groups, like out there, they were gonna send out, their little like emails or whatever, and be like, hollow something.
Oh, okay,
yeah.
Hollow email.
To the HoloNet.
HoloNet. To these smugglers to try to capture him, right? Now we know how it all plays out, and then that's the story for another time or offline. But damn, Timothy Zahn, you had me going there for a second, but then I ended up rooting for the Jedi again.
Okay, good.
When he got his feet back under him.
Yeah,
Thrawn was
brutal.
Thrawn was vicious. He was so good that I had to put a sticky note where he was explaining the difference between an error and a mistake.
Yeah.
And I got chills. I got literal chills reading that. I was like,
Speak on it.
Oh, I could just picture him like giving me that death stare with those pretty red eyes, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm in trouble.
I don't care if it's an error or a mistake. It's
anyone can make an error, Ensign, but that error doesn't become a mistake until you refuse to correct it. And I'm like, I'm like, I feel like I'm getting lectured.
Yeah, well, and I like his justification too, when even Paleon's like, wait, so you knew we didn't lose him because you know that he's where he is, basically.
Yeah.
So why? And he's like, we don't have the luxury of having people that can't adapt to unexpected circumstances.
Yeah.
Like if people are just going to go by the book and have no imagination and no problem solving skills, they're useless. Like might as well have a droid. And I was like, dang. Like, so he's not just like, just killing for killing's sake, just to be intimidating or to set an example or whatever. Like he justifies it and it makes sense. And it's like, ooh, he's scary.
Yeah, that's pretty terrifying, but it's interesting.
Yeah. I was reading that and I was like, oh, Jasmine's going to be sorely disappointed that he's not as cuddly and forgiving as she
I mean,
But
even with the Thrawn that we have read, like I could still see, the cunning, the thought process, everything, but I could see that. Don't get me wrong, I love this Thrawn and I love the other version, and I love that I get two different ones to read about. So sometimes, I want one that'll just be like, that one.
That's
And
good. Yeah.
And then
yeah.
another one that's like, you know what? I've done all my thinking, I've done my processing, but I don't have to just kill for no reason. Because I feel like newer Thrawn would have been like, you know what? Retrain this guy or just get him out. But then this one is like, just kill him. That's why for me, it's interesting just having the two different ones. One that I wouldn't call him more lenient, but one that's slightly more forgiving. One that like truly wants to teach so that there's no more mistakes versus this one that's like, I'm not going to waste my time. So that's why I like seeing the two different ones.
it's interesting. Like, what would old Thrawn do? What would new Thrawn do?
So I feel
in
like
the same
old Thrawn,
situation.
Old Thrawn would be like, just tell him about the airlock. But the new Thrawn would be like, okay, well, like I know he wouldn't give unlimited chances, but he'd probably be like, one chance, don't waste it. And then after that, if he had a, and then I feel like if the person wasted the chance, he'd probably give one chance, and if the person wasted it, he'd be like, you know what, then you're done. So
I feel like I agree.
Yeah.
I agree, and I'm gonna speak on it a little bit. Like this Thrawn is a little bit Vaderish, and that's why you have that like where they do mention it. Like, and I remember going back to, I think it was like the first episode of this book. Like, yeah, like would you work under like somebody who's like a Vader-ish type? Like, and now that I did say, I mean, I think that we had no choice. I think is like, would you work for this, and what would you work as? And then that's why I'm down in the escape pod hatch.
Yeah, you were like, I'm working a different department.
But that's why, because he becomes like a Vaderish type, and I think I said last week, he's very similar to Tarkin, and Tarkin's just as bad as this guy. I want to read more Thrawn now because I want to make that comparison between Tarkin and why these two guys, well, no, they have met. And I don't like the Disney version of it. Sorry. But I like where if they had met in this, in like maybe I don't know if he even appeared like way that far back, but the newer version of him is, yes, I do give the second chances, but I'm going to torture you a little bit. That's what I feel like.
Like he plays with them more?
Yeah, there you go. Better wording for it. Like he plays with them more like a cat plays with like their
Oh, I kind of see that. Yeah, that makes sense.
So, and he's very, but then again, I like how you're making the comparison between the other two. Mine is just like it's almost in alignment with each other. That they're trying to like Timothy Zahn, whether he had a restriction to write him differently or not, there's some like I'm seeing alignments in this types of Thrawn, but I like this on better first, and hopefully I like Rebels Thrawn second.
Which one do you hope you see in the Ahsoka series?
No question. No question. It would have to be the Rebels version. I need that continuation. I need that closure. This first, the OG one that we're reading right now, because of the way he wrote them into the characters, that's special, right? The way Filoni did it with the Rebels and that cast of characters, that's a different version. See, so and then this probably will be another version.
Probably
we're gonna keep getting different versions, I think, but like I guess I like them all right now. I don't really have a super favorite. If there was a favorite, it'd be the Rebels one for now. But this one is really the way you guys picked to read this book, man, he's like I'm waiting for him to just get that dagger and have that. It's the revenge of the Empire that I would say is what
it's terrifying because even up until the point we're at, which is only to chapter 20, we're about halfway through, is he predicts everything, every move they're gonna make, every plan he sets up. goes how he wants it to. So you're just like, oh my gosh, this poor New Republic has no idea like who they're messing with. Like
exactly. That's what makes him different. That's the biggest difference in Tarkin, right? Tarkin, I don't think really could predict what was going to be. Tarkin was just a great strategist too.
Yeah. But he had hubris, and that was his downfall.
I'm going to change my answer. Tarkin was a great decision maker. And he was very adamant of the decisions you make, whether you watch Rogue One, whatever you watched them in.
Yeah, and he was ruthless.
He was really, exactly. Thrawn, again, playful, teases his, like, who he's gonna, his subjects. I'm gonna leave it at that. Teases his subjects, but in the most, like, it will make you think, and he's awesome.
I mean, when you think about it, you know, this newer Thrawn is years younger than Heir to the Empire Thrawn. So it kind of makes sense that they are different, especially he wrote about a much younger Thrawn for the Ascendancy trilogy. I haven't read that yet. I will at some point, but that's why I like that they are super similar. But this younger Thrawn, you know, he'll give a chance. He'll still toy with you, but he'll give you a chance. Just don't mess it up, because I feel like if you mess up that chance, you'll end up doing what older Thrawn does. And now, after a lot more time in the Empire, seeing how things are, reading him in Heir, and he's like, you know what, I'm done with chances. That's why, you know, it is two different Thrawns, but at the same time, I'm like, he's kind of growing up more.
You can see how he grows into it.
Yeah, I could see why he grows to be more and more ruthless, because at the beginning of Thrawn, you know, he seemed more curious, and like I feel like that Thrawn would be like, okay, you get 2 or 3 chances, but then like by the end of the book, he's like, 1 chance, you're done. And then this book, he's like, no chances.
Yeah, we start there.
Yeah, so I feel like kind of like how I feel about Solo's Lando and Empire Strikes Back Lando is I get to see him growing more into this character. That's why I don't have a problem with the new Thrawn. I love them both. But, you know, just thinking about it more, especially after our conversation, I'm like, you know what? I get to see him grow into this super ruthless, no more chances type of guy. And I find that fun and interesting.
He's in his final form.
He's in his final evolution. Yeah.
The best.
Yeah, the Ascendancy trilogy, that was phase 1 evolution, you know, just like a Pokemon. The Thrawn trilogy, second evolution. And then this is his final evolution.
Oh my gosh.
It's just on.
He's a blueberry Pokemon.
Pokemon. Oh my gosh.
He'd be a fire and an ice type. Don't ask me how. It just would work.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, but I'm really excited. I'm waiting for the dagger in this book. Like, I know he has something in his sleep. And
you can see all the little pieces falling into place.
This is just the first book. This is the first book out of 3. So it's like, I'm like, man, the dagger may be coming in a long time. I don't know if there's one here. So I don't know. I'm riding the ride.
Well, and also, didn't I call it like, don't go to Kashyyyk? You should have buried yourself in that daggum capsule on that planet, because girl, they already found you. Like, yeah, that was. You just don't go where there's other people. Don't go to a city. Are you crazy? Yeah, so we'll see if the Wookiees can protect her or what was going on with that.
I will say though, I am very excited to see Leia and Chewie doing more together, because usually like Han is always involved. So to see just them two, I love it. Which, oh my gosh, I forgot. I put in my notes. I actually started wheezing when he was like, "No, I have a speech impediment," and I'm like, "Oh."
But he was laughing. Because
I just love that she's like, "Wookiee."
So wait a minute.
She's like, "Chewie, you had a speech impediment," and then the guy was like, "No, actually, I do."
No, that's me.
But that also shows you how Chewie was so loyal to Leia. I think whether he was like, you know, she couldn't translate or understand them too much. But the point where he would always try to, you know, not make her feel dumb that she couldn't like understand the Wookiee language. What is the Wookiee language, by the way? Sorry, this is
Sherwook.
Sherwook. We've talked about that before. Yeah, that's right. So I think, and what I really like about the parts in this book with them together, right? We haven't seen them together, right? And another thing that we've always said is that seeing Leia with so many different people, whether it was the banter between her and if banter is a good thing or bad thing, with her and Wedge at the one time when we were reading Rogue Squadron, or to a point like this where Chewie has his bowcaster and he's just flinging it, like side to side, like right,
sweeping
like,
this house.
I mean, these chapters, man, there's a lot of emotion for me in these chapters. I didn't play to them, but I was like really feeling it. Like I was feeling these chapters in specific of this book. Like it was like hitting me, and it was telling me like, man, this is why you love Return of the Jedi. This is why, like, this is everything right here. And I love. Oh, and not to mention, sorry, before we go to like 2 hours here, we never mentioned the droids. R2 played big roles here.
R2, yeah.
What a champ.
And where he got, where he got stolen, I think, right? So
I know he's out in the shed.
He's champion.
On Card's base.
He's just cursing out everybody that he hears come by.
Droid beeping, cursing.
Man. And there's a point also where we, I don't think we see C-3PO, but there's
he's trying to do Leia's voice.
Yeah, where Leia, where it was actually where Leia needed his translation.
Yes, and that was so important to show that he's not just like this comic relief character. That the
where
type
everybody
of droid
begs
he is,
on him. Yeah, exactly.
He's a protocol droid, and there's a reason that somebody like her needs a protocol droid, because she's constantly going to these other cultures, and it's now she's got her foot in her mouth all the time with these poor Wookiees and can't understand it. She's like, I wish I had 3PO. Like, who says that? But it was so nice to see him be needed and to show like this is why a protocol droid exists. Like this is his purpose, and she doesn't have him when she wishes she did.
When she actually needs him. And I'm gonna say it right now because the book said it, 7 million languages. Let's leave it at that. It's not a billion, kabillion, billion, whatever they said in Rise of Skywalker. Okay,
yeah, right.
That's done. Let's talk about one more character, or two if you want. I want to go back to Rawl, who does have this speech impediment. What difference do you think from Rawl to Tarful, just the Wookiees we know? I'm gonna keep it so it's simple. Like, what makes this one special to you? Like, because it's like bringing somebody into your house, and then you have to kind of bring those accommodations to somebody. And with this, it's special accommodations. So Yoda had good relations with Tarful, so it was easy for him. But now Leia, who Chewie trusts, like what's different here?
It's the connection that he has with the whole situation here is such a unique perspective, because it always seemed like Han and Chewie were always together, and we finally get to see in Solo Chewie's enslavement to the Empire. But then you get Raul, his story of being enslaved by the Empire until the rebellion took them down. And so he's got this life debt, basically, this sense of owing something, this loyalty to the entire rebellion, and with Leia as a kind of a figurehead in this case, and knowing what her husband has done for one particular Wookiee, that makes it like, this is somebody that we can trust, that understands us, that appreciates us. And she represents the government that basically saved all our people. So
yeah, right.
It was again this depth of world building, and like, how does the struggle between rebellion and empire affect all these other little worlds, all these other cultures, and all these other species, which we never get a sense of. I'm just going to rag on the sequels every time I can, that we never get a sense of how the grand battle affects the little people. They just kind of like go about their lives and like as if nothing exists, and like, oh, this person's in charge, that person's in charge, I don't know. But like here we actually see how life is affected and loyalty is affected by everything that's happening in the galaxy.
Any thoughts on Rawl, Jasmine? Or you like him? Don't like him?
I just love the fact that he's like, no, I have the speech impediment. I'm like, bless your little heart. I mean, I like that all the Wookiees we get are just so different from each other. That's one of my favorite things. Like when you first asked the question, my mind immediately went to, I feel so bad I forgot her name, but she's the Wookiee in Lost Stars.
Mm.
Oh yeah.
Who she was kind of like a mother figure to like all the little aliens and humans, and she was so cute. She'd always like pat their head, or she'd like start like petting their hair and like playing with it too, as if it was like a Wookiee baby. And I'm like, God bless
Totally
her.
stolen from Han's mother, Wookiee.
Yes,
think-
From that novel. You remember that
Snare,
one?
The Snare.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Paradise Snare.
so basically, like, yeah, just another mother figure, and I just really liked her because she was also very sassy. And I was like, oh my gosh, I love this so much. So I don't know why, but my mind just immediately went to her when you were asking that
Wookiees
question.
forever.
But I just love Wookiees. I love the different personalities that we get from them. I don't like how in certain books that I've read, that we've read, where they kind of generalize them, and I'm like, no, because they all got personalities. They all got different ones. But I love Wookiees. I love Raul. I love how patient he is with her.
Yeah.
And like he's not being an ass to her or anything. Like I feel like some people would expect, I feel like Chewbacca would be an ass, but he's like
He's such a
very
brat.
professional and diplomatic, and I adore that.
Nice. There's one person I can't read in this book. And it's not that I cannot read their motive. There you go. Let's put it that way. And I want to talk about more of this smugglers group stuff.
Oh, Talon Card.
Okay,
What's this guy up to?
Okay, I'll just leave it at this. Is he playing Luke Skywalker right now? Because here I'm telling you, right, Return of the Jedi Luke is really and I was just like, dude, Luke, you're being played, and the whole he can't use his force, like dude, it's a force block. What in the world? Like, there's a force block that I would have never guessed that in a million years. You can turn yourself off away from the force, I know, but you can't get force blocked. What is that?
Force block,
it's
bro.
ray shields. I was like, what's going on? But well, yeah, let's speak on Talon. And as a smuggler, remember he was saying that if it were the Empire to find out and knew we were hiding you, we're coming for your group. So that's why they're afraid. Now, if we let him go and release him back to his people, that it would just be like, it was like a lose-lose situation.
Yeah.
So let's speak on this. How do you play this character, and how does he, is he playing Luke, first of all? Let's speak on that.
I don't think so. I think he's really upfront. He seems to
Yeah.
be.
You think he's because I haven't read it, so I can't read it, and I'm like, dude, like I feel like he's gonna try to help, but then later on, I don't know. And then like Mara being like this, the second hand, like second in command or whatever, like is like very sketchy to me. And I'm just like, dude, like, Will Talon, what's he gonna do here? So you guys think like he's just gonna play it safe? And
I think, like Megan said, he's up front, and I think that's what's throwing us and probably everyone else off, because usually the smugglers and pirates like try to bullshit, or they're like, well, what do you think? And they try to always throw it back at you. But then this dude is just like, nah, I don't know what's going on. Or he'll be like, can you fill me in? But like he's very confident in his questions. I feel like the fact that he's so open about what he does and doesn't know, even when he does straight up say, I can't tell you, like he's just very he's an open book enough that's trusting, but at the same time like really confuses people, and he's just different from the smugglers that we're used to reading. So that's why I'm like, I like that he's up front, but at the same time, like I'd be skeptical too.
Yeah, it makes it a little weird.
It throws you off.
Yeah, because he is like, yeah, you can wander around, but there's all these things and they block your force powers, and we're not going to tell them, and we're not going to tell them, so we'll figure something out.
Sketchy with that. Like, I mean, if you got to use it, like, he's a little sketch to me. Yeah, that's all I have with that. The smugglers, I think, are going to play something big here. I don't want to keep talking on because I might say something that might spoil something for me.
And I like him. I like how he operates. I like his style. I like kind of how he deals with his people and with the
Mhm.
Empire and how he makes his decisions. Like he's a really good character.
I'd get tea
So-
with him.
Yeah.
I'd
Yeah.
get boba. I'd be like, hey, do you want to go get boba?
I'd totally hang.
I don't think I'd
think
work
so.
for him, but I'd go get boba with him.
I
Like
can't
Boba
read them.
Fett or
I have to read them a little bit more, and I hope they do
Yeah, we'll
have
go
them a little
catch
bit
'em.
more. But yeah,
probably be easy. We're talking about new. Anyway, what chapters are we reading next?
All right. So next up, we are reading 21 through 26.
All right, no problem. 21 through 26 for next
it.
time.
got it.
I'm excited. Oh my gosh, everybody's
I
moving
had
and
to check
doing fun
because
stuff.
we only have a certain amount of chapters left that I split it up carefully to make sure that we do end next reading on a cliffhanger to get us
No.
like really pumped for the
Ooh.
last set of chapters.
Great.
Wow.
So
where's
this
book
week's
taking me?
reading is going to be just a little bit heavier, and it's going to be lighter.
For the
The
finale.
reading after, yeah, for the finale, it'll be a little bit lighter, but because of the cliffhanger,
Oh, that's brilliant.
yeah. Because I just sometimes what I do is I'll read the very last sentence of the previous chapter just to like, okay, is this like a good ending, to see like how I split them up.
Yeah, no, it's pretty strategic. Love it.
So
All right.
it wasn't even a spoiler, and I'm like, what is gonna happen?
Already cliffhanged. Okay.
Yeah.
So 21 through 26 for
Yep.
next time. That's your assignment, everybody. And can't wait to talk about those chapters with you. But for now, for this week, Sexy Wookiee signing off. Sexy
Sexy Wookiee.
Wookiee.